The Amazon's responsible for about 9.5% of the oxygen produced, so therefore it will be responsible for about 9.5% of the carbon captured by all of the vegetation in the land and the sea, the same sort of numbers. So we're talking about a critical region of the world that we cannot afford to lose. It's vital for the balance of the climate system on this planet. Okay, so let's get right into the presentation, and those numbers I wanted to throw out to you before I did anything else, and I'll revisit them showing you the actual writings from Yadvinder Malhi, which I believe are accurate. Okay, so here's the Amazon rainforest. So these are global warming vulnerable tipping points. Okay, we know about the Arctic sea ice loss. That will leave, when Arctic sea ice is gone in the summers, that will leave Greenland exposed. So that's another tipping point. Boreal forests here, permafrost, huge emissions. The jet stream is slowing and becoming wavier, causing extreme weather. Another tipping point. Methane cloth rates, monsoons, Sahara greening, Sahel drying. The coral reefs, we know that we've lost tremendous amounts of coral reefs, West Antarctic ice sheet, and so on. Now this image is from the Climate Emergency Institute. One of my colleagues, Peter Carter, has put together this site, and it's actually based, so this is the image I'm showing you, and it's an update from this image from the Potsdam Institute, Hans Schellenhuber and Timothy Lenton. Okay, so that's where the image is coming from. So the Amazon rainforest is very vulnerable to tipping, because if we lose too much of the rainforest, that basically water is recycled. The water coming here falls on the Amazon rainforest. There's transpiration, so it goes up, creates clouds, falls again, falls again, falls again, falls again. So it's recycled many times through the rainforest. So if we lose too much of the rainforest and that water recycling halts, then the whole thing can very, very quickly tip over into savanna and become, basically there'll be an enormous mass of carbon released up into the atmosphere, so it's definitely a very strong tipping point of vulnerability in our overall climate system. Just a reminder, this is my website, paulbeckwith.net, and please consider donating to allow me to, to basically put together all of these videos and try to, inform you of the latest science and the risks and so on. So my last few videos were all about browning Earth since 1998, based on a recent study, including atmospheric drying. And I would like to point out that I did come across a study that was arguing, based on leaf area index, that the Earth was actually still greening since 2000. So this is an area that is still in contention in science. Okay, to find this image, I just Googled tipping elements in the Earth's climate system, and this seemed to be the best one that I can find, leading me to the Climate Emergency Institute, which is my colleague Peter Carter's website, leading me to talk about, this image. So let's look at basically social media for a bit. So this is my Twitter feed at Paul H. Beckwith, and these are the videos I did on browning of the Earth, but there's all kinds of stuff on the fires in the Amazon rainforest and on the politics and so on. Okay, so make sure you have a look at my main Twitter feed. Okay, I do want to point out, everybody's tracking the sea ice, and this is the sea ice extent, the daily change, and you can see how it's really, really tapered off here. And have to look at the reasons of this. One of the things that's interesting is, as we lose more and more sea ice, the sea ice blanket is basically just concentrated around the pole. There's very little around the land areas, which are much lower latitude. So as you go closer and closer to the pole, of course, the angle of the sun is more glancing, and basically, it's colder up there. So, just the geometry of the sun means that, maybe the ice will stick around for a bit in the central Arctic Ocean. Maybe because of that simple geometry effect. But that's, a topic of another video, or other negative feedbacks. Again, if you go on Twitter and look at Amazon, search hashtag Amazon rainforest, you get all kinds of, stuff on images, and there's all kinds of information. I mean, this is one of the best ways to get information. Or if you look at fires, look at the hashtag fires, like this is comparing August 2018 to August 2019, and look at all of these points, points where there's fires. I mean, basically what's happening is, I read that something like 99% of these fires are basically being caused by farmers, by people, by foresters and farmers. They go in with trucks and chains and they pull down trees over a fairly large area. They let the wood dry out for a while, and whether they can't stack it or whatever, and then they burn it. And, they actually had a fire day where they were celebrating the burning, and the present government does not recognize the importance of the Amazon rainforest on a global scale, denying denying climate change. So anyway, these are, rather than a rainforest, I mean, it's hard to set the rainforest on fire. If you pull down all the trees, let them dry out a bit, and then set them on fire, then they'll burn like crazy. And this is really what's happening in these points. It's not actually pristine rainforest burning. It's the trees that have been slashed down, dried out, and are then set on fire and burned. So this is a human issue. Okay, if you go to Earth Null School, couple things I want to point out are, first of all, if you go to chemistry and carbon monoxide, this is what you see here. This is at present. You go back a day, so you can see the variation here. This is carbon monoxide being produced. It's produced by incomplete combustion, so you can see the extent here of all the CO being produced from day to day. I'll go back, so this is a date, August 20th, 19th, 18th, 17th, 16th. Now before the 16th, okay, there was burning, but there wasn't so much compared to previous years. Okay, we'll just keep going back. You can see what's happening. So these fires, the timing is, it's a dry season. The fires are being set, and basically they're burning when the wood's dried out. I'll continue. Thanks for listening.